There comes a moment, usually quiet, usually unannounced, when a person realizes they have been carrying something for so long that they have forgotten what it feels like to put it down. Not a box, not a bag, something heavier than that. The weight of being the strong one. Maybe you know this feeling. Maybe you have known it for years. The one who never cried in front of the children. The one who held the family together when it was breaking. The one who said, "I'm fine," so many times that it stopped being a sentence and became a habit. Strength, when it is real, is quiet. But strength, when it becomes a role, becomes something else. It becomes armor. And armor, after enough winters, grows heavy. This is a story about that weight, and about what happens when finally someone sets it down. Her name was Margit. She lived in a small house at the edge of a town in southern Sweden. The kind of town where the church bell could still be heard from almost every street, and where the lake froze early each November. She was 63. For most of her life, people had described her the same way. Strong, capable, the one who copes. When her husband Anders died 11 years ago, the funeral had barely ended before people began turning to her with relief in their eyes, as though her composure gave them permission to grieve less carefully. "You're handling this so well," they said. She had nodded. She had made the coffee. She had folded the napkins at the gathering afterwards, because someone had to, and because folding napkins required no feeling at all. That was the year she learned that being strong often means becoming invisible in your own pain. There is a particular kind of loneliness that doesn't come from being alone. It comes from being needed in a way that leaves no room for your own needing. Marge's daughter, Ellen, lived 2 hours away in Gothenburg with 2 children and a job that left little time for long phone calls. When Ellen called, it was usually to ask something, about a recipe, about a childhood memory, about whether Margit could come help for a weekend. Margit always said yes. She had said yes for so long that she could no longer remember the last time someone had asked her what she needed. Not out of selfishness on Ellen's part. Children rarely notice the weight their parents carry. Not because they don't love them, but because the strong ones are so good at hiding it that there is nothing visible to notice. That is the quiet tragedy of strength. It protects others from worry, but it also protects them from truly seeing you. It was October when something shifted. Margit had gone to the doctor for an ordinary checkup, blood pressure, a few tests, nothing urgent. But sitting in the small office, waiting for the doctor to finish typing notes into the computer, she felt something she hadn't expected. Tears. Not from fear, not from sadness exactly. From exhaustion, a tiredness that had nothing to do with sleep. The doctor, a kind woman not much younger than Ellen, looked up and said gently, "Margit, when did you last rest? Not slept. Rested." Margit opened her mouth to answer the way she always answered. "I'm fine, really. Just busy." But the words didn't come. Instead, she said something she had never said out loud before. "I don't remember." That evening, she sat in her kitchen with a cup of tea, slowly going cold in her hands. Outside, the first snow of the season had begun, soft and unhurried, settling on the dark branches of the birch tree near her window. She thought about all the years. The year Anders got sick, and she managed his medications, his appointments, his fear, while quietly carrying her own. The year her mother needed care, and she became the daughter who visited every week, who handled the paperwork, who sat by hospital beds long after everyone else had gone home. The year Ellen's marriage nearly ended, and Margit became the calm voice on the phone at midnight, the one who listened without judgment, who never once said, "I am tired too." She thought of how many times she had been the place other people came to rest, and how she had never once been given a place to rest herself. There is something Nordic cultures understand quietly, without needing to say it aloud. The value of lagom, of just enough. Not too much sorrow shown, not too much joy either. Just enough to get through the day with dignity. But somewhere along the way, just enough can quietly become never enough for yourself. Margit had spent a lifetime giving just enough comfort to others while leaving none for herself. It is a strange kind of math. The strong one always seems to have more to give, until one day they don't. She didn't decide to change all at once. People rarely do. It happened slowly, the way light changes in late autumn. Not suddenly dark, just gradually dimmer, until one day you notice the lamp needs to be turned on earlier than it used to. The first small change was simple. When Ellen called the following week and asked, almost automatically, if Margit could come stay for the weekend to help with the children, Margit paused. A long pause. Long enough that Ellen asked, "Mama, are you there?" "I'm here," Margit said, "but I think I need this weekend for myself." Silence on the line. Not an angry silence, a surprised one. "Oh," Ellen said, "of course. Are you all right?" "I think I will be," Margit said. "I just need to rest." It was such a small sentence, but saying it felt like setting down something she had carried for so long that her shoulders had forgotten what it felt like to be light. That weekend, she did very little. She made soup slowly, without rushing. She sat by the window with a book she had bought 2 years earlier and never opened. She let the silence in the house simply exist, without filling it with tasks or worry. At one point, she cried, not from sadness, but from something closer to relief. The kind of crying that happens when a body finally allows itself to feel what it has been postponing for years. She did not call anyone afterward to explain it. She simply let herself feel it, fully, in private, the way a held breath is finally released. There is a particular kind of grief in realizing how long you postponed your own feelings to protect the feelings of others. Not because anyone forced you to, but because somewhere along the way, you learned that being needed felt safer than being known. It is easier in some strange way to be the strong one. Strength gives you a role gives you certainty, and certainty, even when it is exhausting, can feel safer than vulnerability. But certainty built on suppression is not peace. It is simply postponed pain, paid for slowly, in small, quiet installments, in tired evenings, in forgotten hobbies, in friendships that faded because there was never enough energy left to nurture them. In the weeks that followed, Margaret began to notice small things she had not noticed in years. The particular blue of the sky just before sunset in November, the sound of her own footsteps on snow, the quiet pleasure of cooking a meal for no one but herself and eating it slowly without guilt. She began walking in the evenings along the edge of the frozen lake, her breath visible in the cold air. She did not walk to clear her mind. She walked simply to be present in her own life, perhaps for the first time in many years. One evening, an old friend, Birgitta, saw her walking and joined her. They had once been close decades ago, before life and responsibilities pulled them in different directions. They walked together in silence for a while, the way old friends sometimes do, not needing words to fill the space. Eventually, Birgitta said, "You seem different lately." Margaret considered this. "I think I'm finally tired of being strong," she said. "Or maybe tired of being strong alone." Birgitta nodded slowly, as though she understood completely. "Most of us were," she said. "We just didn't have the words for it." This is something rarely spoken about, especially among people who came of age in quieter, more reserved generations. So many people, especially women, especially those who became caretakers, learned strength not as a choice, but as a survival skill. They were strong because someone had to be. And once you become the strong one, in a family, in a marriage, in a friendship, it becomes very difficult to ever stop, because everyone around you has built their own peace upon your steadiness. If you falter, even briefly, it can feel as though you are letting them down. But the truth, the quiet and necessary truth, is this: no one can hold everyone else up forever without eventually losing themselves in the process. Margaret began slowly to redefine what strength meant to her. Not the strength of never breaking, but the strength of finally allowing herself to be human. She began telling Ellen small truths, that she was tired sometimes, that she needed quiet weekends, that she still missed Anders deeply. even after 11 years. And that grief does not disappear simply because time passes. At first, it felt strange to say these things aloud. But slowly, something shifted in her relationship with her daughter. Ellen began calling not just to ask for help, but simply to ask how Margaret was feeling. For the first time in years, Margaret felt not just needed, but truly seen. There is a particular peace that comes not from solving every wound from the past, but from finally allowing yourself to acknowledge it. Margaret did not become a different person. She still made the coffee at family gatherings. She still helped when she could. She still carried, quietly, the instinct to comfort others first. But now, there was something new underneath it, a permission she had given herself, the permission to rest, the permission to be tired, the permission to need others, not just be needed by them. One evening in late December, snow falling steadily outside her window, Margaret sat with a cup of tea, watching the quiet street below. She thought of Anders, of her mother, of all the years she had spent holding everyone else steady. She did not feel bitterness about it. She felt something quieter than that, a kind of tired tenderness toward the woman she had been. The woman who gave so much because she believed, deep down, that giving was the only way to be loved. She understood now that this had never been entirely true. Love, real love, does not require constant strength. Sometimes it simply asks to be let in, even in moments of weakness. If you are someone who has carried strength for a long time, for your family, for your friends, for people who never quite realized the weight you were holding, perhaps this story feels familiar. Perhaps you too have said, "I'm fine," so many times that it became easier than the truth. Perhaps you have forgotten what it feels like to rest without guilt. There is no grand lesson here, no simple solution, only this quiet observation. Strength does not mean never resting. It means eventually having the courage to set the weight down, even briefly, and trust that the people who love you will still be there when you pick it back up. Outside, the snow continued to fall, soft and unhurried, the way it always does in late Nordic evenings. Somewhere in a small kitchen, an older woman sat quietly with her tea, finally allowing herself to simply exist, not as the strong one, not as the steady one, but simply as herself, tired, human, and for the first time in a long while at peace. If this story stayed with you tonight, perhaps it is because some part of you too has been carrying something for far too long. You don't have to set it all down at once. Sometimes it is enough to simply notice the weight and breathe. If this quiet moment resonated with you, you are always welcome here. This channel was created for slow reflections, honest emotions, and the thoughts many people carry silently through life. If you'd like more stories like this, You can gently subscribe and return whenever you need a peaceful place to think, feel, or simply listen. Thank you for spending this moment here tonight. Take care of yourself and rest well.